Ford Field faithful, you ever get that feeling when the air in the stadium shifts, when the cheers fade into that uneasy hush, like the whole city's heartbeat skips in unison? That's where we are right now, Lions fans, staring at the kind. A moment you wish was just a bad dream, but can't shake because it's happening in real time. This is Lions News Fan Report, and if your blood runs Honolulu blue, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell so you're locked in for every twist, every turn, every heartbeat of this season. Because what unfolded under those Friday night lights in Atlanta wasn't just another preseason snap. It was a gut punch that hit every corner of this franchise. Imagine the clock ticking down in the game that's supposed to be about fine-tuning and building momentum, not holding your breath for the fate of one of our own. A high-speed collision, the kind that makes you blink twice, hoping you didn't just see what you saw. Helmets clashing, bodies snapping back, and then stillness. The kind of stillness that chills you to your core. You see players drop to one knee, their faces locked in a mix of shock and prayer, and you know instantly that this isn't about football anymore. In that moment, the scoreboard vanished, the playbook disappeared, and all that mattered was the man lying motionless on the turf. And here's the thing, this wasn't some seasoned vet coasting through another August. This was a young warrior still carving his name into the roster, a guy who'd been grinding for every rep, every snap, every chance to prove he belonged. Just 24 years old, fighting through the gauntlet of an NFL career that never gives you anything easy. 1 second he's locking in on a tackle, the next he's on the ground as medical staff swarm the field, working with precision and urgency. For nearly 20 minutes, fans in the stands watch with hands over their mouths, teammates clasping hands, opponents showing respect in a way that reminds you this game, this brutal, beautiful game is a brotherhood at its core. And while the hit was clean, the aftermath was anything but ordinary. Head and neck injuries. Those words alone send shivers down any fan's spine. The coaches meet, voices low, eyes heavy, and together they make a call you almost never see in the NFL. Shut it down. 6 minutes left to knock, this game was over. Not because of the score, but because the soul of the night had shifted. And then came the update stable condition, movement in all extremities, breathing, talking, but still. He's staying overnight in the hospital for observation. You breathe a little easier, but that knot in your stomach stays put because you know this story isn't over. Dan Campbell's voice carried that same blend of grit and compassion we've come to expect, calling him a class act, praising the Falcons' sportsmanship, and making it clear that in moments like these, it's not about wins or losses. It's about the men who give their bodies for this game. But if you've been following this team as long as I have, you know moments like this don't just fade away. They ripple. They force hard conversations in meeting rooms and late-night phone calls. They make front offices think about depth charts, about safety protocols, about the future. And in a defense that's already walking a tightrope between breakout potential and depth concerns, losing a player, whether for weeks, months, or more, changes everything. You start asking yourself, how does the secondary adjust? Who steps into that role if he's not ready for week one? Is this the kind of opening that forces Brad Holmes to look outside the building, to find a stopgap, or even make a splash? Because as much as this is about recovery, the season waits for no one. The NFC North isn't slowing down, and every roster move from here on out could tip the balance between playoff glory and another year of almost. And maybe, just maybe, this becomes one of those stories where adversity shapes a team into something stronger. Or maybe it's the kind of storm that tests every ounce of resilience we've got left. If you believe the Lions are finally ready to roar louder than they have in decades, smash that like button, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, and let's finish what we started. Because this moment, this exact crossroad, will either be remembered as the night we proved our resilience or the night we realized just how fragile this dream can be. We're staring at a season that has every reason to be historic, an offense loaded with firepower, a defense on the cusp of being feared league-wide, and yet here we are, dealing with the kind of gut check that can break a lesser team. But here's the thing. Detroit isn't a lesser team anymore. We've been forged in heartbreak, built on the bones of seasons where hope was a rumor. That's why this injury doesn't just impact one position. It hits the DNA of our identity. The safety position in Detroit isn't just about coverage. It's about intimidation, about being the last wall between chaos and control. In 2024, our defense ranked 19th in passing yards allowed per game. And we all know that's a stat Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have circled in red ink. This year was supposed to be different. We were set to pair youthful hunger with hard-earned veteran savvy to field a unit that could finally clamp down when it mattered most. And losing a piece of that puzzle, even temporarily, means the ripple effect hits every layer of the scheme. Suddenly, linebackers have to drop deeper, corners are left in more single coverage, and the blitz packages Campbell loves become a riskier gamble. Opposing quarterbacks will smell blood, and offensive coordinators will draw up plays to test our soft spots. And yet, this is also where legends are born. You think back to 1991, the last time we made it to the NFC Championship game, and how that squad handled adversity. They didn't shy away from it. They embraced it, used it as fuel. Could this be our version of that? Could the shock of seeing one of our own go down be the spark that turns a good defense into a great one? Players like Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch now have a chance to step up in a way that could define their careers. The next man-up mantra isn't just a cliche, it's the lifeblood of every contender. And don't think for a second that Brad Holmes isn't running through every possible scenario right now. Does he scan the free agent market for an experienced safety who can be plug and play? Does he swing a trade, the kind that sends shockwaves through the league and tells every team in the NFC North that we're not backing down? Because make no mistake, Green Bay, Chicago, and Minnesota are watching this closely. The Packers would love nothing more than to see our secondary compromise. The Bears, with their new-look offense, are licking their chops at the thought of testing deep. Roots against us. The Vikings, even without Cousins, are looking for any crack to exploit. This isn't paranoia, it's reality in the NFL. Every weakness is an opportunity for your rivals. And here's where the emotional side comes in. Detroit fans don't just want to win. We want to win with heart. We want a team that stares adversity in the face and says, not today. We've waited too long, suffered too much, to let an injury derail what feels like destiny. If this team can rally, if they can plug that gap and hold the line, it sends a message not just to the division, but to the entire league. The Lions are done playing the underdog. And maybe, just maybe, when we look back months from now, we'll point to this night, this scare, as the moment we realize that the road to the Super Bowl isn't paved in easy wins, but in how you respond when the universe throws a haymaker at you. The question now is simple. Are we about to write another chapter of heartbreak, or the first line of the story that changes everything?